Hello, welcome to Createful Art. I'm Ashley Krieger and I'd love to show you how to paint this forest scene in the night with this really cool owl. 3 years ago when we started to travel, I saw fireflies or lightning bugs for the first time, and it was so beautiful to see these bugs glowing in the forest. So hopefully while we paint together today, we can go to this really peaceful place. Let's start with what we need to begin to paint. We're going to start with just 5 colors: your primary blue, primary yellow, and primary red, which is magenta, and then your white and black. And that's all you're going to need. These 5 colors make all the colors we're going to be using in this painting. So for the first one is just black, and if you want to get the handout that goes along with this lesson so that you can match the colors, go ahead and become a Createful Art member. The next color we're using is a mix of black and blue and a tiny bit of your magenta. Just adjust those colors until they're close to what I have, which is a really dark blue color. You'll want to make more of each of these colors and set them aside. So now I'm going to add white to make the next color with the color we just made. Keep lightening it until it's just about the right value. Match it as best as you can and then make more of it and set it aside. The next color is almost white, so you're going to use a lot of white and just a little bit of black. Make more of this color and then set it aside. For the next color, just add a little bit more black to the color we just made and a little bit of the blue. I added just a tiny bit of yellow to make it on the green side and adjusted the black until it was the color I wanted. Make more of this color and then set it aside. The next color is a creamy dull color, so I'm going to grab my yellow and my white here and mix them together. It's a little more on the orange side, so I add a tiny bit of the magenta, and I add enough that it warms up that color, and I adjust those 3 colors until I get it to where I want it. In this particular painting, these are the only colors we will need from this palette. I'm going to be using these colors in more than just this one painting, in all of this month's paintings, so I'm going to mix a lot of them. And then I put my paints in my Stay Wet palette so they'll be fresh all month long and I can just start painting right away. Links to my palette and the other supplies that you will need are in the description below. Now that we have everything ready, we can relax and paint. Begin by grabbing your large flat or filbert brush and the light gray color. I'm concentrating on putting that in the center of my painting with a line going all the way down my canvas. Now I'm going to grab this medium blue color and I'm going to start putting it on the edges of that light color, and then I decide that I need to mix a little bit of that color with the blue to make it a little lighter. I want these 2 colors to slowly blend in to each other. And then I've decided that I need to have more of the lighter color in the middle. And then I will just use this darker color on the edges of my canvas and then pull that color into the light with my brush. It doesn't matter how you do it, but I'm just kind of making this crisscross motion. And then I'm going to go on the right side, add that dark color, and do the same thing. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the yellow next to the dark blue and the light color. I'm going to do it on this left side as well. So the more I go over an area, the more it's going to blend. Now you can keep blending those 2 colors together, or you can leave it like this. I'm going to blend a little bit more, and this is how mine looks. This is from just doing the same brush stroke that I'm doing right now over and over and over again in the same area. With your 1/2 inch flat brush, add blue to it. And I'm going to mix it with just a little bit of the white to get a lighter color. I'm going to make a vertical line right here on the right side on top of the yellow portion of my painting, and then I move out at the bottom. The bottom reaches about the middle of my canvas, and I make kind of a triangular shape down there, and that's the trunk. So I'm going to add another tree almost in the center, but not, just over to the left a little bit. I don't want a tree right in the center. And it ends around the same place. Then I'll make another tree, and if I run out of paint, I just grab more paint right next to it and go down a little bit further than it. I'm going to grab darker blue and add it to that tree so it stands out a little bit more. And I'm adding another tree that's a little bit slanted into the other one, right next to it. So anytime I feel like it needs to be a little bit darker, I'll add the darker blue to it. And I'm going to concentrate on putting the darker blue down at the bottom. So now I have a darker blue on my brush, and I'm going to make this large tree right here on the left side, a little bit further down, and then I just go up with that side of the tree. We're just painting the right side of the tree, and then it goes towards the center. And then at the top, I will create a straight line that meets that line. So now I have this branch up there, and this is the trunk. So I'm going to make this trunk thicker by adding more of the darker color, but that bottom I'm going to fan out again. And then I need to make sure that the tree is dark enough that it stands out against the blue behind it. So I'm going to add some of the darker blue on the left side. Then down here at the bottom, I can bring this color over and then pull up right here on the edge to create some grasses. Notice how I twist my brush and then I pull up at the angle I want the grass to come. So right here, I'm going to add a tree. I want this tree to look a little bit different, so I'm going to have it curving just to give some interest, and then I'll do the same thing, just pull up and make some grasses right here at the bottom going towards the middle. When I want the grasses to be tinier, I'll just push my brush and make some blotches. That's all I need to do in the distance. So you can add more trees in your background, just depends on how many trees you want. But the key is that the further back they are, the higher they are on your canvas, and as they come down, you want to have them staggered. You don't want them to end at the same place. You want these shadows to come into the center and then be like the steps, like steps to the top of your canvas. And that's what's creating depth here. The foreground is what is in front of the background, and we're going to grab some black here and make some darker trees. So I'm just starting right here where this yellow meets the blue in the background, and I need to have this color because if I were using the lighter blue anyways, you wouldn't be able to see it because it's the same color as what's on the edges. So notice how I'm taking these lines, these 3 lines, and then I'm pulling up. So what I'm doing is I'm creating the edges of the tree and the roots that are coming down there at the bottom. So now I'm creating a branch. So I'm going to create some branches here, and I'm going to start blotching to make it look like there's leaves on these branches. So I'm going to let it thin out while it goes towards the center of this yellow, and then I blotch more as it gets closer towards the tree. And these branches don't necessarily have to look like they belong to this tree in particular. They can be like parts of the trees in the background. So now I need to fill in my tree. I want to make sure I have a dark enough blue that it stands out from the background. And then I just fill it in as I come down. So notice how I'm using just the corner of my brush to make some grasses there. And then move those grasses over again to a point towards the middle of my canvas. Now I'm going to grab some more black, and I'm going to create this tree on the left side. So I'm starting with the grasses right now because I want to put them exactly at this spot. I want to keep my paint black because this is a silhouette, so I'll keep going back for paint. I'm making tall and short grasses as I come down, slanting towards the bottom of my canvas here. And notice how some of my grasses are taller than others, and then I start coming up on the right side. Just along the edge is where I want to have my black tree. So I'm taking this line and I'm pushing up, going back for some more black, and then on the left side, I'm going to do the same thing. And then I fill this in. On the left side, I've made this curve of the tree coming in towards the center. And now I just want to take this trunk up and then have some more branches. So what I'm doing is I'm creating the branches when I do that. And then I just fill in the trunk and create a branch right there. And notice how I'm using the edge of my brush to do that. Now I'll fill in this tree with black. And I'm not going to fill in completely all the grass areas so that it's solid. Remember, there's some of the light that will be touching near the edges. And what I need to do to make it look like this is a little more natural is I need to add more black into those trees that are more in the foreground. So I'll make this tree right here. And then I need to add some more black in this tree that's a little bit closer, just along the right side. But I'm going to darken this tree as well over here on the left side. So now I'm going to grab just this light blue color and add more grasses going towards the center. And so I'm going to cover up a lot of this yellow with just this light blue. And I bring that color just with some blotching, of course, all the way down towards the bottom of my canvas. And there you go. And then I take that grass at the top. I'm going to add some of the blue and a little bit of the black to my brush, and I'm going to add some leaves onto these branches. So I'm doing that with this blotchy technique. I'm not getting detailed here. This is impressionistic. I just need to get this look like there are there's leaves on these branches. So to do that, I just add shapes, and these shapes are irregular shapes, and I can do that with just a blotch mark, which these leaves are part of the tree that's in the foreground, so they're going to be darker. So more leaves on the sides, less leaves in the center. And that's the key here. I'm going to be doing this same brush stroke, same technique for a little while, filling in this area. You can take a paper towel and dab them, or put black on your paper towel, and this will create a messier and fuller look. But you could decide if you like that look or you like the other look more. So I like this look, but I feel like I need to have just a little bit more detail around the spongy area, and so I'm going to add just a little bit of that with the tip of my brush. So I'm going to put some more branches in here with the tip of my brush. Now I want to have some irregular lines, and I want to stop being so perfect. So I'm just going to be random really quick here. Just make lines wherever, random places. I can always take them out if I don't like where I placed it. I'm going to make some of my grasses start going in different directions down here, and have some longer ones. So I'm grabbing my detail brush just to make some longer detailed grasses. You can always change it to how you like it. So add more details if you want it to be more realistic, or be looser for a more impressionistic look. At this point, you want to make any changes that you need to make to your forest. Now it's time to add in the lightning bugs or the fireflies. So I'm going to use the bottom of my brush, and I just dipped it in the white, and see I can make a dot with that by just pushing down with lots of paint on the end of my brush. But you can put them wherever you want. You can even turn your round brush around and use the tip of your brush if you like, and put in some fireflies with that. The last step is always final details, which are your personal preferences. So here I am, I'm taking some of my light color, and I'm just going to soften this background just a little bit. You can keep your painting just the way you have it right now. You don't need to do this. So I'm choosing a place where I want to put my owl. It's going to be right there up against the light. And I've got my detail brush and my black, and I'm going to create the silhouette of an owl. So what I did is I looked online and I looked up silhouettes of owls, and I'm going to follow the shapes that I see in one of those silhouettes. So you can do a different silhouette if you like. So basically this is the left wing that I'm following here, and then I'm adding in the head, and then the wing's going to come out over here onto the right. Now I'm going to paint in the tail feathers of the owl, so it's going to be a line basically right under this wing to the body. Underneath the tail is the legs and the claws holding a mouse, so I need to make a line right under it going towards the body. Now I'll work on the head. It just needs to be a little bit fuller, so I'm going to take my detail brush and go in a circle right there and then fill it in. And then I'll size my wings according to the body size. So I'm going to make my wings stretch out just a little bit more with the line on the right side and then as well on the left. I want my owl to be a great horned owl, so I'm going to give it pokies right there at the top of its head. Now I just want to create a glowing eye, so I'm going to grab my yellow and a little bit of white and just add a tiny little dot where the eye would be. Congratulations, you are done when you are happy with it. I feel so honored that you came and relaxed with me today. If you're ready to become a better artist, go ahead and sign up for my weekly art lessons. And if you struggle with painting along with me, you can grab my reference photos and my full tutorials when you sign up to become a Create Art member. And happy relaxing, my friend. Take care.